Are you looking for a way to eat healthier? Are you looking for a way to read more but don't have the time? Or could you be looking at ways to increase your fitness and activity with things like Couch to 5K? All to help you lead a healthier and happier life. We'll be looking at and more in today's episode of the Inside the Orange podcast. Welcome back to another episode of the Inside the Orange podcast, where this week I will be back with Kip and we'll be talking about three aspects of the Inside the Orange podcast segments. I look forward to bringing you that. Before that, though, as ever, here is how you can get in touch with the podcast and support us. At the Inside the Orange podcast, we're about creating positive change through organisation, reading, activity, nutrition, gratitude, and engagement. And you can follow us on YouTube, Instagram at Inside the Orange, on X at Orange Watts, and the Inside the Orange podcast on Facebook. We want you to reach out and help build the community. Don't forget, we also have our fundraiser for this year, the 40 for 40 for Anna Kennedy Online. Here is a little bit more about that and how you can support our GoFundMe coming up right now. We are back and on the road again. This year we are doing our 40 for 40. We are walking 40 miles for the Anna Kennedy Online Autism Charity, raising awareness, acceptance and promoting inclusion of autism and autistic people. We are going to be going out on the 19th of July for our longest walk ever, and you can join us and support us via our GoFundMe page, available in the show notes and description. Check it out and support us today, and let's make 2025 an amazing year supporting this great charity. So into today's episode, and yes, me and Kip will be bringing you so much stuff about fitness, about nutrition, activity, aspects of the Inside the Orange that we've talked about for so long, and we are going to be talking about it. So let's get into that conversation that we had. So we are back again, and I'm delighted to be joined by Kip for another breakdown. We're going to be looking things today about activity, about nutrition, and about reading, as well as breaking down some of the things that were discussed in the previous episode. So Kip, welcome back again to the podcast. Co-hosting duties once more. How's everything going?
Co-host, I like that. How are you, mate? All right?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. I'm busy, but a lot. Well, I'm really looking forward to talking about today. I think there's some things that you're going to take a bit of a lead on, especially some of the diet areas, because I think it's a really interesting diet you want to talk about. We're going to be talking about the apps we can use, which we might have alluded to in a previous episode. We might have talked about, and I'm going to give you a bit of a breakdown about my kind of Couch to 5 journey, so my fitness journey at the moment, and then we'll do a little bit of a roundup of the guys, as I say, we've just spoken to. So yes, so I want you to break down. So you messaged me and I said, look, let's talk about some diets and everything. And I said, which one do you want to, where should we start? Because I think diets is something you are really keen at researching, getting right, and kind of find out more about. And you messaged me 4 letters, WFPB. And if I'm honest, Google got visited before I responded with what I thought it was, thanks to Google. So WFPB, what are we talking about?
Whole food plant-based. So
right.
Basically it's a posh version of a vegan diet. So yeah, no animal products is what it says on the tin, whole food plant-based.
So, okay, so I get plant-based. So plant-based is what they're creating. That's quite vegan based now, isn't it? No dairy, no.
Yeah, so obviously a vegan diet previously. I mean, I separate it from a vegan diet. A vegan diet, you can mean Oreos are vegan. So you could eat Oreos. So, and that's the trouble with a lot of people who fail at veganism. Um, or have a lot of these like the fake meats and processed. They're still having processed food basically, like crisps and stuff like that. Some of them are vegan. So to say you're vegan doesn't mean you're healthy.
Mm.
Whereas this takes that up to another notch. Obviously, if you're only eating whole food, plant-based foods, clues in the title is you're eating whole foods, and it's a lot more healthy. It still comes with the same caveats that a vegan diet comes with, which we'll go through.
Mm.
But yeah, that's essentially what it is.
Okay, so again, and this is the beauty of what with the podcast. I'm coming into this complete layman. I completely understand what you're saying about the kind of vegan aspect. So to break it down, when you're saying processed food, you're saying what some of the vegan stuff that is made is still gone through the same process, is still put the stuff in that we don't necessarily need. This whole food thing is actually saying no, you're only going to eat the good things, the things that are naturally sourced. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, processed is the wrong word. I think the buzzword these days is ultra processed foods,
Okay.
because lots of foods are processed that aren't necessarily bad. I mean, cheese is a processed food; it's altered from its original state. But these ultra processed foods are what I suppose you'd call hyper palatable foods, where they have the food scientists that it's their whole job is to add sugar, fat, salt, and get that perfect ingredients to make people give that mouthfeel and make people want to eat more. They're the ultra processed foods that we really need to be staying away from as much as possible. Again, enjoy them in moderation now and again. But for general health, it's yeah, they want us to stay away from the ultra processed foods. And a lot of the vegan foods are ultra processed foods. A lot of these fake meats, a list of ingredients as long as your arm, and people like I say, you can eat a bag of cookies, Oreos, and claim you're vegan because they're vegan, but it doesn't make it healthy, does it? It's so a lot of the market for vegan foods is quite unhealthy because they're ultra processed foods.
Okay, and just to break down again, this will be in the description and show notes as well. We are not medical professionals, and again, with any diet change, we always tell people to go and speak to their GP or get further information on. What we're doing is just highlighting some of the diets that are out there, and like you say, just giving a bit of more information, a bit more of an informed idea of what's going on. So, I
Yeah,
mean,
just our experiences basically, and
yeah.
the caveats and that come with it that we found, and yeah.
Now, I'm going to challenge you with a bit of a question here. So, with supermarkets, and again, no one in particular, but it is a lot easier for people to walk into a supermarket, marketing, anything, whatever way you want to look at it, and find the processed foods a lot easier, potentially, than some of these foods are not. Maybe, okay, maybe easier is the wrong word because we can all make our way to a fruit or veg. We know where it is. I'm not saying it's that difficult, but we're almost there's a lot of bells and whistles on the things that aren't whole foods because we're getting pushed a little bit into that processed way. Am I being unfair there?
No, absolutely, mate. It's yeah, we definitely push that way. It's where the money is, isn't it? There's no money in fruit and veg. The same with meat. There's not as much money in meat as there is with these ultra processed foods. And we'd like to keep buying more of them. And the trouble these days is that the healthy option is a more expensive option. Unfortunately, these days, these cheap processed meals you can get for much cheaper than you'd be able to buy a steak and some vegetables. You know what I mean? And you have to take that into account now. People that can't afford to eat this way.
Mm.
It's I mean, especially cost of living these days. I mean, there's ways around it. You buy like the wonky veg and stuff like that, but generally, the ultra processed foods are so much cheaper than a healthy option. So some people are sort of caught between a rock and a hard place in terms of that kind of thing.
Yeah, so I mean, do you have any tips on what people can look for with when we're talking about whole foods? Again, I'm not teaching saying that people don't know what the difference is with the whole food, but what kind of things are we looking for on that kind of diet?
Well, whole foods essentially. As little in the packet as possible. Um, so fruits, vegetables, whole grains. I mean, to be fair, the whole food plant based that can be done quite cheap because obviously meat's quite expensive. There's no dairy involved in it. There's no cheese and stuff like that. So you're basically looking at fruit, vegetables, whole grains, legumes and beans, lentils, tofu, stuff like that. Maybe the occasional vegan processed items, but yeah, generally just whole foods.
Mm.
Basically trying to avoid anything with a list of ingredients. I mean, they say don't eat anything with a barcode. I mean, that's a little bit too far, but yeah, generally stuff that's in the packet with a list of ingredients, you avoid it really.
Yeah, yeah. So we're looking at, if we look on the back of the packet and it has to and the ingredients list is this for
Yeah,
something that looks quite natural, we need to be aware of just what is being put in it. And yeah,
absolutely. I mean, anything that makes any claims, again, like we're not doctors, but I mean, it's anything that makes claims on the front that it's low sugar, low fat. I mean, the general consensus from experts is to avoid that. So anything they've got to make a claim on the front is purely marketing. Like there's no claims on broccoli. Do you know what I mean? It's we all know what the health benefits of broccoli and or a steak. Do you know what I mean? It's this other stuff that's being pushed and
yeah, it's a really good point. It is, because yeah, you see these, these nut bars and things, protein packed, and literally it's got 5% more protein in it
yeah.
than a Twix.
Yeah, it's
I'm
just buzzwords,
obviously
isn't it? It's
picking some.
buzzwords and marketing. That's what it's all about, isn't it? And unfortunately, it works.
Mm.
Like we're in this situation where I think obesity is the highest it's ever been across the world. It's a global issue, isn't it? So
Now, you're obviously and again, why I've asked you to do this kind of on the podcast is because you do research your diets, don't you? Uh, you're not a fad dieter because of something you see once on Instagram or something. You will research of benefits and if it's going to be good, bad on the other. But I suppose some of the challenges with the vegan mindset or the plant-based mindset, and again, when we talk whole food, how do we make it taste nice? And if we're battling against every single other aspect of marketing, and like you say, chefs who are jobs are to make things taste better that aren't necessarily very nice for us, how do we get that taste? And are there things that you can recommend that will taste what you want to have?
oh yeah, I mean there's endless cookbooks on whole food plant based. But yeah, I mean it's what doesn't taste nice about natural food. I think we're so used to the taste of these hyper palatable foods that maybe um, we don't realise how tasty the actual natural food is these days. I think, but I mean you can use spices, you can salt. It's to say they're not tasty is just yeah, they're absolutely tasty. It's just we just need to get used to eating them again. Um, but yeah, there's so many different recipes and so many things you can do with vegetables and fruit and anything in this guidelines of this diet. It's very tasty diet.
And I mean, are there any pros and cons? I'm putting you on the spot here, but is there any pros that you can say will help, and any cons that you might have to be aware of for full
Well, yeah, there's, there's
transparency?
there's pros and cons to all
Hmm.
diets, isn't there? So I think the ideal diet is probably one that lies in between all these different, should we say, fad diets, celebrity diets.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, a well-known caveat for the vegan stroke whole food plant-based is lack of protein,
Hmm.
um, lack of B12, which obviously we get through meat and animal products, iron deficiencies. So I mean, any diet you really where you need to supplement, you could argue is not the ideal diet. But there are people who thrive on it. There's people who can't do it. It's like any other diet really. But yeah, the main things to watch out for would be lack of protein. Obviously, on a whole food plant based, you'd be getting your protein through beans, lentils, tofu, stuff like that. Seeds, nuts and seeds. Yeah, lack of calcium. Obviously, you wouldn't be having dairy. So just making sure you're eating your leafy greens, stuff like that. It's got calcium in. Iron, because you're not having red meat, stuff like that, which is essential for iron. Zinc and iodine, stuff like that. So multivitamin will cover a lot of that, but the B12 and the protein is probably the two big ones that you'll be lacking on a vegan whole food plant based diet, basically.
Yeah, and again, they've got to be made aware of, because obviously they can change how people feel and they can make people not feel great. But like you say, there are multivitamins, there's things out there we can kind of do it. And absolutely, as we kind of always seem to come back to on the podcast, it's about balance. It's about doing the right thing for you. But like I say, once again, if you are going to make any big changes, please speak to a GP physician, whoever is in charge or supporting for your kind of weight loss.
Again, I mean, a lot of people do this kind of diet for the ethics side of it.
Mm.
The nutrient deficiencies aren't more important for them. So they absolutely will not eat animal products. So people like that have to be a bit more. I mean, it can be a very healthy diet. You just have to plan well. Basically, you have to be prepared that you're going to have to supplement, and plan it well. But yeah, I see a lot of people do it for for ethical reasons, as well as for health. I mean, health benefits are obviously a high intake of fruit and veg, high fibre, phytonutrients, all that kind of thing that you get from fruit and veg.
Mm.
So yeah.
That's fantastic. And we want to hear from people. As I say, get in touch, email, Instagram, X, or the Facebook page if you do want to kind of share your stories about being on the whole food plant-based diet. There you go. I've said it without the initials now.
Okay.
And we want to hear people's stories. We want to hear its success, or we want to hear people's views. As I say, this is about building a community. If you want to find out more, then again, it's absolutely there. When Kip did message the diet to me, I'd not heard of it before. Obviously, hearing it now, it's a very straightforward diet that I probably have seen around. But when you give it, sometimes it's the name of the diet that you don't recognize more than the principles of it. But it's really good. But yeah, absolutely amazing. And again, it's nice that we're talking about this and a little bit of nutritional change. And I know, as I say, that's right up his street, ladies and gentlemen. He does like to kind of research these things. We are going to move on. So that's a bit of nutrition. We're going to talk about an app we looked at. We talked about last week. We actually, last episode was that we were together, the Blinkist app, which we use to get the outlook of the Atomic Habits. If you've missed that episode, go back and have a little listen to that.
Yeah.
Blinkist. Do you use Blinkist, Kip? Is it something that you would use?
I've used it in the past. Yes, very good app. I'm not always been the best reader. I can read, but I have to be focused. So when I'm not having those periods where I'm not taking stuff in as well, then it was a very useful app. So basically what it is, I think you alluded to it in another episode, it gives you key points of a book. So basically summarises a book. You can either read the summary, or you can have it read to you in like an audible kind of situation, and it'll just go through the key points. So a book that's 500 pages, it'll probably give you the key elements in 15 minutes. So if you're on a coffee break and you want to learn about a book, or if you said to me, Kip, next week we're doing this book, and I'm like, oh, I haven't read that yet, and I'm working, I'll just Blinkist it. Okay, I'll get the key points of it, key summary. It's a bit like meeting notes, note minutes, isn't it? You go into a meeting and it's not verbatim, but you get the key points. And it's that in an app, basically. I think it's, over 7,500 titles. I think it's one you have to pay for. It's not a free app. I think there's like a basic package, which is £47 a year, something like that, 14p a day. And there's other packages on there. But yeah, it's a very good app, very good.
And I think, again, people can go back, and like I said, thank you for kind of sharing that. So the audio aspect of it, the reading aspect. But I don't think it stops someone if they were to get a summary from Blinkist to then go away and go, actually, I want to get into the depth of that book. It can be used to kind of get people into that aspect of reading, couldn't it?
Yeah, I've done that before as well. Yeah, it gives me, I can't remember what the book was now, but yeah, I'll listen to some of your book. That actually sounds really interesting. I want to delve more into that. So I actually read the whole book, and so yeah, what it gives you the key points. It can certainly help in getting the ethos of the book across to you. But you've always got the option to then go back and read the actual book. It's like going on a cruise, isn't it? Stopping all these different places, and then if then you go back to them. It's that kind of thing, isn't it? So
yeah, a bit of a try before you buy. I know, obviously, we said it's an app that costs, but you can still get an overview of a book to then go, is this something I'm going to be interested in? And I mean, again, we're not here advertising for them. It's just something we're looking at different bits and pieces. And like I said, when we started the reading aspect, and I think this is where I went in straight away, and I was like, Kip, I want to do reading. I've really enjoyed reading, and I think it's a great way to help. And we discussed it, and you said, well, yeah, but what about audiobooks? What about if you don't read a Kindle? What if you do this? And like we said, I think we alluded this to a previous episode. It's not closing the door on knowledge, isn't it? That's the key point of reading. Actually, if it is easier for you to read it, we want to remove the barriers to stop people getting that information, rather than just go, here's a book, read it, and if you don't get it, well, I've tried. It's about that, isn't it? It's about getting that format about how you want it to be.
absolutely, yeah. Like we said, it's any format you get your knowledge from. If it's a choice of not reading a book or reading a Blinkist summary of it, then what's the best? It's, do you know what I mean? It's getting a summary from Blinkist, and it's good for people who I mean, there are people who don't like reading, who can't read, and but still want to be in a conversation about a book. Well, it's ideal for people like that. You can do this in your coffee break, your lunch break, your commute to work. You can literally summarize a book in 15, 20 minutes, and that's the whole book done. And you get the key points and the key notes of the book and to discuss.
Yeah, and again, I remember we met up recently, guys. We do talk outside of podcast recording. I know, difficult to believe, this relationship gets built on more than just these chats every now and again. But I said to you, and again, there's so many of these things that come into my earshot mind, and I go, oh, I've never heard of that. And I'll say to you, I'll be like, Kip, someone said about Blinkist, and you're like, yeah, it's quite a good app, mate. Well, why am I so behind with all these apps? But it's something we're not closing the door on anything in getting that knowledge and getting that engagement. And again, yes, I know. Again, we're asking people in this episode. Whole food plant based might be a bit more expensive. Blinkist, it might be a bit. Blinkist, it might be a bit expensive. We'll pay for this, but I suppose there's also that aspect. And I'm going to be that guy. And again, I welcome people to come and have a conversation with me. You should not be afraid to invest in yourself. We put money into things that are harmful or don't do us any kind of long-term good. But to get things, to pay a little bit to get better, surely that's an investment in yourself.
Absolutely, yeah. Like you say, it's people pay for Audible and stuff like that. It's probably cheaper than doing that. And buying books, it's probably on par with that. Look at the cost of buying books anyway. So yeah, absolutely, it's investment in yourself, isn't it? Where you get your knowledge from, it's yeah, there's loads of different sources and apps you can get your knowledge from.
Mm. Yeah, and again, it's been really good to, as I say, we did the Atomic Habits episode, and like I said, we have read it, but how do you give it a nice outline? Sometimes it's good. You got the back of the book sometimes, but if you haven't got access to the back of the book, I can't turn my Kindle round and have a look. I could have a bit of a sample, I know, but this little app it has been really good, and it stayed on my phone. I still prefer to do the reading, but it might just be something I just tap in to say, what's this about? Okay, yeah, that's worth an investment. Like you said, the cruises, that try before you buy even, and that's totally free on it to do that. Again, I'm not advertising them, but it is free to tap a book in and get an outline. You don't have to then go into the full aspects of it. So again, it's a really good app, and I'm pleased.
Very useful, yeah.
Yeah, I'm pleased it's come into the kind of the mind. And again, please, if you've used it, if there's some hints and tips from people out there, please get in touch. As I say, email or social media. We'd love to hear your views on it. And again, get part of the community. That's what this is all about, is building that community. The last thing we're going to talk about, before I talk about the kind of, or give us a brief update of the interviews we've just had, is my fitness journey, which is Couch to 5, so Couch 5K. So this is used by lots of people, but I'm just going to kind of talk about that bit of a journey that I'm on. For people that know, obviously I did the Walk for Autism over the last few years. My weight actually went up, and I was able to do the walking, but my weight got out of shape. And so I went on a diet. I did start to run before that, but 18 stone running is a lot of impact on the knees. And I am approaching 40, so it's quite challenging. So I ended up getting to a point where I was like, I can't do this running anymore. And I actually almost retired. I almost gave up, and I went, do you know what? And I did all the cliches that you do. Oh, I'm getting too old now. Oh, obviously, I can't do it anymore. My knees are packing in. Not going, the weight's an issue, right? But now I've got the weight under kind of in a good place. I've started to do Couch to 5K. And I'm on about week 4 now, which is brilliant. And it starts with 60 seconds and then long breaks and lots of walking and then 60-second runs and everything. And it's been that build up. It takes a lot of my mindset to say, yeah, but I used to be able to run 14 miles or 20K or whatever it was that I could run. But I've had to undo that thought process, because that was me then, but this is me now. But it's been a good app, and it's really, really enjoyable. Kip, have you ever used anything like that? Is running something that you've been kind of invested in before?
Something I've done in the past, something I need to get back into. I keep telling myself I'm going to, and I think I'm going to give this a go based on what you said. Is it the NHS one that you use?
Yeah, I think so. It's let me just double check. It's all I know, bless her, Joe Wiley talks to me through my runs every day. Yes, it's the Better Health Let's Do This NHS app, which is
Yeah.
about 3 runs a week. Really good, lovely, like headphones on, pre-recorded things from.
It's a free app, isn't it?
It's absolutely free.
It's
Yeah. So
free.
again, finally, it took us a good part of this episode to get something free, guys. But there is things out there we can push that are free. Yes. And it is good, but it also comes with it's got to be that mindset. You've got to be in it to say, I'm doing it. And again, it feels like big jumps. It feels like sometimes, this week I've literally just done week 4. I think it's a 3-minute run, 2.5-minute break, 5-minute run, 2.5 minute. And again, it's got me there, and I felt really comfortable doing it because it's kind of built up in that sense. But I've had to be honest with my past self, because that self-doubt comes in and that mind talk comes in and says, you can do more than this, you used to do more than this. And you've also got to shut that up a little bit and say, no, that's not my present self. That's not who I am at this moment in time. And I'm enjoying this process. Because the other thing we do wrong is we then go, yeah, but you could do, okay, I'll listen to that part of my brain. And what happens after 3 runs where you go past your limits, you get injured. You don't do it again for another 6 months.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's something that's been really good. I'm really enjoying it. But yeah, go on.
So how quickly is it building your fitness up, do you think?
That's a great question. I think it has. I think the biggest thing for me has been discipline, because I have always been a little bit of that bull in a china shop more, where I can run for 3 minutes now, I'll do it, but I don't do that long-term planning. But this has been the case of listening to when it's telling me to slow down. But because I've done that and I haven't charged off and I've run, and when they say the headphones come through and they say something like, if your pace is getting you out of breath, just ease up a bit, and you listen and you go, oh yeah, I might be doing that.
So is
So
this
actually,
voice in your ear constantly the whole way through your run?
not all the way through. You can play your music, and I love music when I'm running. Guys, you
Yeah.
probably know I'm an 80s playlist kind of guy. I'm running up Rocky Balboa's, long distance cousin who's put on a bit of extra timber. That's why I'm running up these hills. But I need a little bit of,
Any meatloaf? Any meatloaf going on in those ears?
well, maybe when I'm running downhill. I haven't got time to sing it
Just
as
after
well,
a few
Kip,
beers,
go
that isn't it?
on. But no, it is yeah, the music's there, but every so often. And what's really good is they've planned it. They've obviously worked with the NHS really well to know when the time to talk is. They don't talk to you all the way through. They go quiet. You can have your music on. But sometimes when you're doing that 5-minute run, at 2.5 minutes, you get the voice say, oh, we're halfway through, you're doing well. And in an hour,
Okay, yeah.
sorry, a minute before the end, you've got a minute left. And it just kind of gives you that little bit of, oh yeah, okay, you're still there for me. You're still just that little bit you might need in your ear roll to do it.
Does it give you a breakdown of your times, or?
It's really not interested in pace. It's
That's
really
good. Yeah, I was going to say that's probably a good aspect, isn't it? Because it's
yes,
less
yes,
pressure.
yes. And I think you do end up competing with yourself if you do put that pressure on yourself. And again, it's a really good point you've made, because that's part of that aspect for me. I try and beat that last run I did. Can I get a bit further? Why? Why are you trying to beat something? What, you're going to get a medal because you've got a little bit further on down the way?
Yeah.
Actually, when you actually can do this without being out of breath, when you can get to that 5K mark, that's when you start achieving. That's when you start celebrating. The fact you're getting on and doing, that's the achievement enough. For some people, and again, one of the most beautiful things that's on this is when you do that first run, the first voice they say is, well done for starting. And that's sometimes something that we don't do enough to ourselves, especially, is give ourselves
Gratitude.
that credit. Yeah, that there it is. There it is. We should start a pod. Hang on, we've done it. This one. But yeah, absolutely. But when do we thank ourselves or say well done to ourselves for starting? Because starting is the hardest bit. There are a million reasons why I can't do a couch to 5 when I finish work. That is not. But depending what I make of it, there's only one reason to do it, and that's because I want to do it, and it's doing me a lot of good. So that first well done and that second well done, and every time it's building that habit and making it work, it's been amazing. So I really do recommend it to everyone. And as I say, I'm going to keep you posted with my journey and how we're doing. And when we're battling 5K, and me and Kip are running around our local country park with the rest of the park runners that Kip absolutely adores.
I do. I love park runs.
For full clarity, Kip is absolutely fine with park run. We do sometimes meet up at a country park where we walk against the grain for the park runners. We go against, don't we? We're a little bit of those guys.
Feels like it's 5,000 of them, doesn't it?
Obviously, some of us are a little bit more
Yeah.
okay about that than others.
It's a good job I don't swear, isn't it, Rich?
It's all good. It's all good, but it's been good. But yeah, it has been really, really useful. Have you got any? Again, you've asked some great questions about it, but is there anything else I can say or talk about it other than, as I say, just pay tribute to it like I've done today?
No, it's just good hearing your story, and it's definitely making me think of trying it again, because cardio is something I need to definitely start again. Like I say, I'm pretty good with my weights and stuff like that, but cardio is something I'm lacking a bit, and I need to definitely up my game. But like I say, it seems like quite a nice way to ease into it, rather than I'm going to go out and just run until I can't run anymore. It's definitely seems like a viable option for me. Yeah.
And again, we talk discipline a lot, and it is that discipline aspect, because you're right, your body will say, I can do more. And it's knowing that. And again, I'm not going to say I won't get injured from running. It's very likely. It's obviously it's an activity that does have injuries, but stretching, and this again, the app asks you, it says, make sure you stretch, make sure you have water, make sure you do all the stuff. It's saying it for a reason, because actually the more you look after that and the more disciplined you are at getting to that point, actually the more likely you are to achieve it.
I'm
And
known for being quite prepared for these fitness things, aren't I? So there you go.
Imagine, yeah. You'll be so prepared you won't even get to the run. You'll be preparing so much.
Not
What
like
did
me
I
to go
forget
into
to
anything
do?
without practicing first.
No, but it's all good. But yeah, really enjoyed it. And again, I mentioned part run. One of my fantastic guests that I spoke to talked about, in fact, they both, James and Jay, on our last couple of interviews, both talked about it. James doing over 100 park runs, and Jay is
Is this like a nationwide thing, park runs? Is it a
yeah.
government type thing, or?
No, I don't believe so. I think it was kind of it's a company, an organisation that runs it, and they run on volunteers as well. So again, Jay was saying in his interview that it's been really good to volunteer as well as to do it for it. He's really been yeah. Again, both James and Jay. It's something I've never done part run. Obviously, we've seen plenty.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm interested to know how it works. If it's, as I do ones for beginners, or do you all turn it together and run the same? It's just
Yeah, I think it is something that you could just turn up and do. I think it's the same thing. You might pay to do it, and I mean, again, some people might challenge it and say, "Well, why have I got paid to run around my local park?" Well, it's more about that. I think they do timings. I think they do placing and things like that.
I
And
suppose the social part of it as well, isn't it?
yeah, and if you achieve, you get like hoodies to say you've done 100 or whatever. There's milestone hoodies, so there's some real nice aspects of it. Of that, again, we go back to the Atomic Habits episode, the habits. James Lindsay, who was again another guest, talked about the fact that he has the park run, then he has a coffee with his wife. It starts his Saturday a really nice way.
Habit stacking.
Yeah, absolutely. Habit stacking. We do. It's like
Okay.
we talked about that on a previous episode. But yeah, but these guys again, the last two episodes really good, really kind of passionate about the park run aspect. And again, Jay talking a lot about young mentorship, apprenticeships, and engagement. And the book we talked about as well, Surrounded by Idiots, that I think we're going to cover in the club. I like the Surrounded by Idiots book. Always say to people, it's the worst book to read on a packed train or when you're working around a group of people, because the title is so challenging. But what an incredible book. And again, James Lindsay, the author of Befriending My Brain, a psychosis story, which again, what a lovely book based on someone's honest journey. There's some fantastic things in the book here. There's sectioning notes from doctors, there's messages from his family and gaps that he's filled in from his family, but he talks about knowing it, living with it, understanding it, doing some charity stuff, how his kind of wife's helped, and his music. And again, he also puts in music that helps him, podcasts that have helped him, books that have helped him. So again, getting that knowledge and trying to support that aspect of it. So again, these guys been amazing to talk to as well. And I know when I said to you about when I said about James' book Befriending My Brain, you said I'll have a look at that. I'll have a look at that as well, because again, it probably it is. It's such a great story, and again, it's been fantastic to talk to him on there. But I think what we've done today, Kip, is we've given people again and again. I'm going to make sure I say it because it's important too. If you make any big changes to your activity, if your nutrition, you need to speak to someone other than us for guidance and support. We are giving you things that have worked for us. We're just opening up the conversation about it. We'd love to hear your thoughts, your views on Couch to Five, on Blinkist, on the
PB,
WFPB. I'm
not
still
not
no
peanut
good.
butter,
Whole Foods.
plant-based.
It's where I go. Peanut butter, absolutely. Yeah, whole food plant-based diet. If people want to get in touch, obviously, links will be in the show notes description. You can see around, we've got the email and we've got the Facebook, Instagram, and X page. We want to discuss this more, and we're happy to take further discussion on it, aren't we, Kid?
Absolutely, mate. Yeah, I think it'd be good to do a broader episode on diet and nutrition, and tell you a bit about my story. And I've been through quite a year in the past year with C. diff and gut issues, and yeah, so it'd be good to talk about it more and the role that diet's played in helping me recover from that.
Absolutely. I think, yeah. And again, I admire your honesty in sharing that. And again, it will definitely be something we talk about. And yeah, again, this is what we're trying to live the segments by, isn't it? It's just making these little, again, back to James Clear, Atomic Habits, these 1% changes that can just make a little bit of difference in our life. Don't have to do them all at once, don't have to be it. But if something we talk about resonates with something you want to make a positive change, we've done our job at the end of the day, haven't we?
Absolutely.
Good man. Well, it's been good to see you again. I'm sure we'll be back at a future episode, and I might
And
see you
you?
between them, Kip. Obviously, there might be some communication. As ever, it's always great to see you. And again, guys, just to really put it out there, Kip is so great at having this little co-hosting spot. He asked me for support. He asked me to talk about stuff we go through. And I'm still learning, guys, because I still don't answer the questions. So we've already had a discussion on that today. But Kip, I promise in future episodes I'll be better. And I'm saying that for the listeners to hear so they can keep me in loop with that as
There you
well.
go. You've told everyone now. You blank my messages.
But always a pleasure to speak to you, buddy. And yeah, we'll see you in another episode.
Take care, mate. Take care, everyone.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. And if anything we've talked about today has made you want to find out more, then please feel free to get in touch. On next week's show, I'll be discussing someone's bariatric journey. Rob Woodman will be joining me to talk about his re-education of food and fitness. As ever, though, we are leaving it there for today. So if you do want to get in touch or support our GoFundMe that's coming up for Anna Kennedy Online, please, please, please stay listening because we will be bringing you the links to that. As ever, though, guys, thanks so much for listening and goodbye and take care. At the Inside the Orange podcast, we're about creating positive change through organisation, reading, activity, nutrition, gratitude, and engagement. And you can follow us on YouTube, Instagram at Inside the Orange, on X at Orange Watts, and the Inside the Orange podcast on Facebook. We want you to reach out and help build the community. We are back and on the road again. This year we are doing our 40 for 40. We are walking 40 miles for the Anna Kennedy Online Autism Charity, raising awareness, acceptance and promoting inclusion of autism and autistic people. We are going to be going out on the 19th of July for our longest walk ever, and you can join us and support us via our GoFundMe page, available in the show notes and description. Check it out and support us today, and let's make 2025 an amazing year supporting this great charity.